Hello fishing friends, shore jigging lovers. I want to talk about an important issue today, and this is amberjack fishing. When I prepare myself for amberjack fishing, it's the best to talk about tackle first. And I used to target amberjack most of the time with my Zenag Muthos Accura shore jigging rod. It's a 10-foot rod and aged, so it's a powerful shore jigging rod. And this is, for me here, a very good tool to fight these fish, because this rod is kind of flexible and nice to animate the jigs, but as well very powerful if a big fish is hooked to get it out. And in this whole situation of fishing, it is especially, and this is what for me Zenag is the greatest thing, is that the rod is powerful, but on the other hand very flexible. So for you guys who don't know it, a flexible rod like tires the fish pretty quick, and this is exactly what we want when we fight these big fish from shore, because you know we cannot follow, we cannot like we have not many opportunities, so the time until we get the fish out is, let's say, critical. And to lower this amount of time, this is your advantage to be successful in shore jigging. Beside of the rods, I take my reel. I have it here. It's a 4500 Catalina. It is the old size, and nowadays it's kind of between 6,000 size and an 8,000 size, and but this 4,500 is, I would say, a bit closer to the 8,000 than to the 6,000. So when you ask today what reel to pick to go to target amberjack, I would definitely recommend you an 8,000 size to have enough power to get it out, because the 6,000 are, at least for my taste, a little bit small and not so nice. So 8,000 is the way to go for amberjack fishing. It's good to talk also about the line, and I use PE3. It is my standard shore jigging Braid. So PE3 size, it's the Japanese Braid rating, and it's a great diameter and a great, like let's say, between strength on one side, but it is thin enough to have a great casting distance, and like it's affecting the jig as little as possible. So because you know when the line is underwater, or you have above the surface wind, if the line is thicker, it can be easier taken away from wind or current, and it reduces your feeling of the jig. So PE3 is, in my opinion, the line to go when even targeting these big fish. What other tools do I use when I go shore jigging, especially for amberjack? Of course, we don't have to talk about boots, equipment like trousers, good trousers, and what I also use is my life vest. It's a Cultiva life vest that is basically a security item which allows me to fish comfortable even in some difficult areas. And comfort is what you need when you want to focus on big and fish which are difficult to catch. We will talk about it later, because if you want to win a fight against a strong and smart fish, you have to concentrate and focus really on the fight and nothing else. And things like the equipment, the vest, and proper boots and that stuff, they help you to focus on what you really want is fighting this fish. So beside the rod, the reel, and the equipment I use, it's also good to talk about jigs. And for jigs, I like to use heavier jigs, like 100 gram and up. In some cases, I use 80 gram as well, but most of the time 100 gram and up. And I like to use slim profile jigs, which are easy cutting through the water and give the in the eyes of the amberjack very good target. So amberjack love big jigs, and this is really something you should consider when you want to target big amberjack, is to serve them a proper meal in order to strike it. Beside of the jig, it's very important and often a critical point is the hook, the assist hook. And I use assist hooks, jigger, medium only from owner. These hooks are strong, they are light, and they are proven. Look at this beast! Oh! The amberjack and the jigger medium hooks are perfect. So when I have a big fish on and I know I can trust my hook 100%, this is something which is very, very, very necessary, because you have to know and you have to be confident to apply as much drag as you want on this fish in order to stop it. So the hook is important, very important, to be good, strong, light, and proven. And this is the jigger medium for me completely. With the smaller jigs, I like to use the 0.4, but most of the time I use 0.5 or 0.6. It depends always a bit on the shape of the jig. And for my very big jigs, I use 7.0 hooks, which are I use most of the time a single hook, a single big assist hook, and they are perfect, because you let the jig sink in deeper places. If you fish 130 gram plus, these are areas you really don't want to have a snag, because this means you're risking to lose a lot of line, and this can of course ruin your shore jigging day. And because of this, I like to fish single assist. Also, it is a big hook. That means if it grabs the fish, it will sit perfectly. As well as the bigger hooks are more heavy, and that means they are affecting the jigging, the movement of the jig. So I prefer to use one single assist hook with these bigger jigs. So jigger medium is for me the way to go, and that's what I recommend you. But consider, don't go lower than 4.0, and probably the best recommendation is 5.0, 6.0 in this area. These hooks never let me down, and this is again something that makes you comfortable when you fight this fish. Of course, we need the connection between the braid and the jig or the assist, and this is the leader. And regarding leaders, I like to fish 40 lips fluorocarbon. This is a nice, very strong size, and this is again the perfect match between thickness and resistance in the water. And I like to fish it, this 40 lips. In some cases, I go higher to 50 lips, but not often. And so 40 lips is my all-around leader for this heavy shore jigging equipment and targeting big fish. Because what I have noticed is that if you have a lot of pressure on your line and the fish is going into the rocks, it will cut the leader no matter what. I have cut, it was 70 lips leader within a split second with a big fish on. So I noticed that it is not something that will like, how to say it, it will like make a big difference. So my approach here is not to let the fish go to the structure. And that's why a 40 lips leader is enough. It can get some scratches. This is good, it's fine. But if you take a higher leader, it will be more difficult with the casting. And of course, it will again affect the movement of the jig. So I want a nice, clean, sexy movement of the jig in order the fish to attack it and to hook it well. So now I have talked about my equipment when fishing amberjack. Important is to make a good preparation, to be prepared, ready, set up your equipment before you go to the spot. Make it in your piece maybe the evening before and have everything done like perfectly. So the knot is something you should consider and which should be perfect as well as the other stuff. So if you want to know what knot I'm using when shore jigging, please have a look here in this video. I explain the knots, my FG knot, step by step. When you found a spot where you think there could be some amberjacks around, I go there often like with time. So you know, amberjacks like to hunt in these dusky conditions, and my recommendation is to, when you have chosen the spot, go there and go way ahead the productive time, like hours before, so you have enough time to see it with your own eyes, to decide where you will go, from which place you will fish, to see the structures at the spot and which areas could be like dangerous, which areas you can see which can be critical for a fight. Because this is also an important part when you want to land big fish, to know where are the difficult areas at the spot and trying to avoid them. So go there and prepare in like a relaxed mode and not in a rush. That is something very important. But when I go to a shore jigging spot, it is always the question, let's begin from another point. Maybe you found a nice cape and you said, okay, I will go there, I will try it, and as soon as you arrive there, it is important to really decide where you fish, from which place. And I mean that, of course, because of the structures underwater, because they are important. Don't make these mistakes. I saw it so often with inexperienced anglers. They start casting from a spot where you have like a big step in front of you, like 1-2 meters below the surface, and this is something, when you do it, the chances to land a very good fish are not existing, because this step will cause that it cuts the line in the end of the fight, that is sure. Because big fish, when they fight, they stay low. They stay low until the end. And it is difficult to get them up. And when you have this underwater step, like right in front of you, it will cause you some big problems. And this is something you can avoid by thinking before how or where I stand and how I'm fishing. So the underwater structures is something important, but as well is the place from where you fish, like above the surface. Where do you stand? Where do you pick? Where do you place your feet? And I found out that fishing with these heavy drag settings and this like heavy equipment, it is crucial to have a stable stand and a nice place where you can fight and apply this pressure your equipment like gives you, because you have this strong equipment and this allows you to properly fight the fish and apply huge drag on it, but you have to be physically able to do it. And if you don't stand in a good place, in a stable place, you are not able to apply these pressures. And on the other hand, it also gets very dangerous, because the fish will pull you. It will not say, okay, he's not standing correctly or he's out of balance, I will stop. No, if it's hooked and if it's have an adrenaline rush, yeah, it will fight you well. And in this situation, you have to like be able to hold this fish, hold the rod. Otherwise, it can happen that you fall down, that you, in the worst case, break something like, body parts, bones, or your equipment will be in the sea or broken. And this is something we want completely to avoid. And that's why I want to tell you about my approach, because you go there and you have to look where to stand. This is super important. A stable stand and a good balance, and maybe also the opportunity to do a small step in front or a small step behind is something you have to consider. And what I do when I'm out there, I'm seeing where I stand, where I feel comfortable, and how much does the spot allow me to move safely, and where is probably a hole or something I have to avoid. Look at this, have it in your mind, because we have to be ready for the big fish. So I came to the spot, my equipment is ready, I have a place where I know I have no major structures in front of me, and I have a stable stand. The next step is to tighten your drag. And for me, important is to have a good preset of the drag. And what I do, I usually close my drag up to approximately 7 kilos, 7.2, something like that. And I always I check it with my gloves, and I tighten, I pull, and I tighten a bit more. I pull again to see what actual strength I have set. And I don't use any tools, because I think for me it's not necessary. I can check it with my hand, and with some experience you will know, okay, I'm in the range of 7 kilos by how strong you have to pull. But what I can tell you is, if you pull your line without gloves of your reel against the drag, and you can pull the line then your drag is set not tight enough, that's sure. Because this is something you cannot do. The line will cut in your hand and it will feel extremely uncomfortable. So if you check your drag without hands and you still can pull it off, the drag is not set correctly. You have to go a bit more and slowly like get closer to this range. And what you can do is you can use just a simple fishing scale, make a loop in front of your leader and set your drag, like try with your glove, and then take in the scale and pull like the drag, and you will see how many kilos you have applied on the drag in the reel. And this is something what I do always when I caught a big fish. I always let the drag closed. I go home and I check it with a scale, or if I have the scale at the spot, I check it right away, just to get an idea of how many kilos I have set and how the fight was. We have talked about the equipment, we have talked about the preparation and how to like gain good knowledge of your spot, see where are the risky areas, and we have talked about like how to set your drag of the reel, which is very important. But a last tip I want to give you is, and I call it, it's my joker or my last resort. When I see a good amberjack or a good fish like diving to structure or going swimming to structure where I don't want them to be because it's high risk area, I open the bail arm. This is the last resort you have in order to avoid a cut. Definitely this is something I try to avoid because it gives the fish room to go, to dive, to maybe get into structure and to hide, something like that. But it is your last chance when it is very, very critical to get a cut. Because when you open the bail arm, you release the tension and the fish is not anymore able to cut the line, no matter what it is doing. No tension on the line, and the leader is not possible to cut. And you can check it for yourself, like take a piece of old braid and bring tension on it and go with a like sharp knife there, and you will cut it immediately. But try to cut this line, this braid, without any tension on the same sharp knife, it will not cut. It is very, very difficult, and this is like the last resort you have in order to avoid a cut. Also, it gives you like a great opportunity to kind of confuse the fish, because the fish, when the fish are fighting, they fight against the pressure. And when you release this pressure suddenly, the fish is confused. It does not know where to go anymore, where to swim. So sometimes they are moving away from the structure. They change swimming direction, or they head to open water. So these are always places where you want them to be, like away from the structure, because the structure, they go there in order to cut you, because they have a problem, they are hooked, and they want to solve this problem, and the tool to solve this problem are the underwater structures. But if they don't feel the problem anymore, it's no need to go there. And for us it's good, because they are most of the times leaving these high risk areas. Also, it's good to like make the fish change direction. I said it before. Often they are in this situation confused, so they just do it. So I had this like situation where I was fighting a fish and he was going like to the far left, and this gives me a very bad angle to fight the fish along the shoreline, and it's a risk because between me and the fish is a lot of potential places to cut. And it was going like pulling in this direction, and I wanted to stop him, and I couldn't by the brakes. So I opened the bail arm, and the fish turned around and started to swim in the other direction, and I could take him on and start fighting it again in the zone which is best for me. Okay guys, this was my approach about amberjack fishing here in the Mediterranean and how I solve these problems. And yeah, discuss it with me, leave me a comment, and of course subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell and watch this video.